The screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today under teaching aptitude, we will study about concepts and objectives of teaching. Like what are the concepts that are concerned with teaching and what are the objectives that are concerned with teaching. Before starting any class, there must be some objectives that a teacher have to attain, have to fulfill after the completion of the class. Okay, so here are few definitions according to some prominent educationists. According to Gage, teaching is a personal relationship between the teacher and the taught. Taught means teacher and the learners to whom the teaching is being imparted. So teaching, it is a personal relationship. Okay, it is a personal relationship between the teacher and the taught, causing behavior modification. If there is teaching, so there must be something that must be reflecting in the behavior of the learner, of in the behavior of the taught. So that is known as behavior modification. Okay, so this is important, that you can say that this is the result of teaching, that behavior modification, some alteration in the behavior, in the intellectual level must be there. Okay, if the teaching is happening. And what is aptitude? Because this is aptitude. You are studying the teaching aptitude. And what is the aptitude? Aptitude is a natural ability to do something, like naturally, if it is in you or not. So aptitude is a natural ability to do something. So teaching aptitude is the natural ability to teach. So why they are testing your teaching aptitude, your knowledge of teaching? Because uh, generally it is assumed that after clearing your examination, you are coming into the teaching field. That is why the evaluation of teaching aptitude is there. Okay, so teaching is a personal relationship between teacher and the learner, causing behavior modification. And aptitude is the natural ability to teach, to do something. So teaching aptitude is a natural ability to teach. Okay, so this is the like literal meaning of teaching aptitude. Now the concepts of teaching. Teaching is a communication. In teaching, when we are talking about teaching, there must be a communication between teacher and the learner. In this class only, we are talking to each other, we are communicating with each other. I am telling you something. If you are having a doubt, you are raising your queries, you are raising your doubts. Okay, so teaching is a communication between two or more persons. In teaching, the minimum person can be two and the maximum can be, like, there is no limit on the maximum person. Teaching is a communication between two or more persons who influence each other. Each other means the teacher can influence the learner, and the learner also can influence the teacher. So in teaching, there is a communication between two or more persons who influence each other by ideas and learn something. They both learn in the process of teaching. The teacher as well as the learner, they both learn. So they influence each other by ideas and learn something in the process of interaction. While interacting, they learn something. There is something that is changing of behavior, changing of knowledge, anything. Teaching is to fill in the minds of the learner by information and knowledge. Okay, if teaching is happening, so there must be some transfer of the information, transfer of the knowledge, transfer of the facts for the future use. Okay, filling in the minds of learner by information and knowledge. Teaching is a process in which learners, teachers, curriculum means the set of the content that is to be delivered to the learners in the whole class or in the whole duration of the study. That is curriculum. Teaching is a process in which learners, teachers, curriculum, and other variables, if any other variables like the environment, like the teaching aids, anything, are organized in a systematic way. See, teaching is always systematic. You can't teach in an abstract manner. Teaching must be very systematic, very objective in nature. Okay, so teaching is a process in which learner, teacher, curriculum, and other variables are organized in a systematic way to attain some predetermined goal. This is important. Predetermined goal. Teaching is always associated with some predetermined goal. If I am teaching you, so before starting the class, there must be something in my mind, like today I have to complete this topic. Okay, and after the completion of the class, after delivering the lecture, I will ask some questions related to that topic. Okay, in order to see that if what I have thought, to what level, to what extent you have you have been familiar with the concept. Okay, so there are some predetermined goal, because a goal is very important to assess that to what extent the knowledge and the information is imparted to the learners. Okay, so this thing is very important in teaching. Teaching is important part in the process of education. Its special function is to impart knowledge, to develop understanding and skills. Here are some definitions. Some denote scholars have defined teaching, which are as following. In some previous year questions, they just uh, picked up a definition, and in the option there are who have given this definition and the name of the educationist. Okay, so some popular definition you have to learn. Who have said this thing? So you have to know this. Now, H.C. Morrison says that teaching is an intimate contact between the more mature personality and less mature one. In Morrison didn't term anyone as teacher or learner. He just said that in the process of teaching, there is a one more mature personality and the other is less mature. Both are mature, but one is more mature, the another is less mature. Anil Gage said that teaching is interpersonal. So this is also a previous year question. Like teaching is a relationship between teacher and the learner, and the options are personal, professional. Some this type of options you will see. So teaching is always an interpersonal, personal influence aimed at changing the behavior potential of another person. So you see that, like in teaching, there is always some modification here, changing the behavior. Okay, some change is happening in this process. Teaching is an interpersonal influence aimed at changing the behavior potential of another person. Okay, Jackson said that teaching is a face-to-face encounter. Face-to-face encounter between two or more person. One of them intend to bring certain change in the other participant. In in the three definitions that are written here, in every definition, every educationist is emphasizing on the change in the behavior, the certain change, the intimate contact. So teaching is all about bringing some change. Okay, some more precisely some positive change. Any doubt from this slide?
Not really,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, characteristics of good teaching. So, what things you will term in good teaching? Okay, what are the characteristics of good teaching? A desire to share your love of the subject with the students. Generally, a teacher, uh, the subject given to a teacher to taught is the subject of his or her expertise, in order that, because the things that we like, we do that with a very, positive mind, a very positive, very positively. So the teacher is given the subject that he or she studied in her graduation or post graduation, okay? So that it is assumed that if a teacher is studying that subject, so the teacher loves that subject, and he or she will learn to pass on that knowledge to the learners, okay? So a good teaching is a desire to share your love of subject with the students, and ability to make the material being taught stimulating and interesting. Like all these topics you can find in your book. And what is the need of the class? Because in class, the class is like more, the teacher try to make the class more interesting, more engaging, so that the learners can understand the concept very quickly, very swiftly. So the characteristic of good teaching is that the material that is being taught in the class is stimulating and interesting. Okay. The third, a facility for engaging with the students at their level of understanding. Suppose in nursery class, teacher is teaching something. Okay. So in order, suppose teacher is teaching about wild animals. Okay. And is explaining about tiger something. So in the class, the teacher is making the sound of the tiger, okay, the different facial expression, so that the student will learn very actively, engage very actively in the classroom. And here I am teaching. Suppose I am teaching you, and for explaining this point, I have given you the example of the nursery class. Okay, and the teacher, what they are doing there, I am giving you the example of that now. So why? Because I want you to engage with me. I want you to engage with the thing that you are learning in the classroom. So the characteristic of good teaching is that engaging with the students at their level of understanding, because teacher knows that when a learner is able to understand and when a learner is not, so he or she just ask and try to explain it in a very lucid, very explicit manner. Okay, a capacity to explain the material plainly. No need to use some fancy words, some bulky English words. You can just teacher can just simply explain the topic. Okay. Next, a commitment to making it absolutely clear what has to be understood and what level and why. In in the 2 points, one word is coming like here, level. Okay, level. So Sakshi, in the very starting of the class, said that in the heading there was teaching, concept, objectives, and level. We will see what this level is. Okay, in the next slides. Sixth, showing concern and respect for students. Teacher should not be very harsh with the students. He or she try to think things according to the students. Okay, so there should be some concern and respect for students as well. Seventh, giving the highest quality feedback on the student work. Okay, if if the teacher has given something in homework, okay, and the next day the teacher should give some feedback to the students, so that the learners may feel motivated, encouraged, and in the subsequent classes they do their homework regularly. Okay, the next is highest quality feedback. The test, the quizzes that are going in MDYA, they are just a form of feedback. Okay, the feedback help to assess the learners effectively, that what they have been taught and up to what extent they have understand the things. Okay, so that is the kind of feedback itself. Next, a desire to learn from students. Teachers should not, hesitate in learning from students, a desire to learn from students and other sources about the effect of teaching and how it can be improved. See, uh, this thing we are reading under the teaching aptitude. That is why here all the things are associated with the good teaching. So it's not like that everything is a responsibility of teacher itself. There are also some points that are related to the learners as well. But here, since we are studying about teaching, so all the things are of teaching. Okay. So this is clear. Any doubt in the characteristics of good teaching?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next question. The most desirable quality of a teacher is two. Read the options and answer.
Ma'am, first A.
I'm confused between A and C, ma'am.
Here, before looking into the options, look into the question. The most desirable. This can be a desirable quality, but here the most desirable. So between A and C, which one is, the most desirable? Now tell me the answer.
Ma'am,
The
A.
student has to understand, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the most desirable. Clear? This is the answer. If you are confused between any option among any options, okay, so just once again look at the question, look at the adjectives that are there. There are certain adjectives in the questions. Okay, so solve the questions according to that adjective. Clear? Next, teaching can be defined according to three viewpoint. The first is authoritarian, second is democratic, the third is laissez-faire. Authoritarian is teacher centered. You have studied about teacher centered very well. Democratic is student centered, and laissez-faire is subject centered. Like here, the emphasis is on the content, on the subject, like the project method. Okay. Okay. Now just tell me what the authoritarian teaching can be. Anyone? It is a clue that this is teacher centered.
Deductive, ma'am.
Okay. And anyone? Tell me the authoritarian type of teaching.
Is it one way, ma'am?
Yes, one way in this type of teaching, the teacher takes the central position. Okay, the engagement or the involvement of the learners is very little or no. The democratic is the learner centered. The learners are very actively participating in the class and they are just discussing the things up. Examples are like brainstorming and group discussions, all that. Clear? This is nothing, just another name. They can ask you by this name also. Clear? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Authoritarian, democratic, laissez-faire.
Ma'am, what could be answer?
This is not a question. The teaching can be defined according to 3 point views. First,
Oh.
second, third. Okay? Clear?
So it looked like a question, ma'am, initially.
Okay.
So
Okay, no. This is not a question. This is just, fact.
Okay, got it, ma'am.
Okay. Now the characteristics of teaching. See, I will if when I explain all these topics, you say, "Oh, this is very easy. What is this? Ma'am is explaining this." But believe me, there are direct questions from these points. Direct question. Okay. The first, teaching has different level. In your syllabus, there are 3 levels of teaching. Okay. First is memory level, second is understanding level, and the third is reflective level. There are 3 levels of teaching. Every point that is written here, okay, every point, from every point there are several previous year questions. When you look into the previous year question, you will understand what I am saying. Okay, every point is very important. Every point is constituting 2 or 3 previous year questions. So teaching has different level, 3 levels: memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. Second, teaching takes place in a dynamic environment. The teaching always takes place in a dynamic environment. The environment in which the teaching learning happening is dynamic. It can't be static. Okay, so it's dynamic environment. In environment, there are three variables. Dependent variable, that are students. Why they are dependent? They are dependent on teacher. Independent variable is teacher. And the third variable is intervening, like the aids for teaching. For example, the methods teacher is using. For example, in the classroom, if a teacher is using the projector for explaining the topic, so the projector is the intervening material, the teaching aid. Okay, so environment involves three variables. First is dependent, second is independent, and third is intervening. Now, changing environment, dynamic environment, every day. The number of students vary now. Someday there are 7, someday 10, someday 11. So these are changing continuously. So teaching takes place in a dynamic environment. Okay. Third, teaching is closely related to education, learning, instructions, and training. Okay. So teaching is concerned with all of these things. So they can ask you like this. Teaching is not closely related to, and in the options they will write education, learning, instruction, and the one very, one option that will not go with the question itself. This type of, in this type they can frame the questions from these topics, these points. Next, teaching is essentially an intellectual activity. Okay, teaching is an art as well as a science. This is a previous year question. They can come in the form of statement. Statement 1, teaching is art as well as science. Statement 2, teaching is an interactive process. Statement 1 is correct, 2 is correct, both are correct, both are not correct, like that. Okay. The next, teaching is a continuous process. Teaching goes on continuously. Okay. Next, teaching is an interactive process. Teaching is always, there is always a communication in teaching. So teaching is an interactive process. Any doubt from this slide?
Yeah, ma'am. Could you just run through the dynamic environment, ma'am? I understood dependent, independent. Is that referring to that only or something else, ma'am, when you say dynamic?
Dependent, independent, also the intervening aids. Okay. Suppose today, it's very cold inside the classroom, and the students are saying that, ma'am, let's go and sit outside. Okay. So there also that change in environment is there, and the teaching aid. Suppose today I am using book, and the next day I am using the projector, and the very next day I am using the flashcards in the class. So that are the changing environment. Okay, the teaching aids that the teacher is using, dependent variables and independent variables that are varying. So teaching takes place in a dynamic environment. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. For example, today if the net connection is good, our class goes well. If the internet goes haywire, intervening could be the bad connection, which could disturb or help the class or disturb the class.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
It is well known that teaching is a purposeful activity. Here, these are the keywords: purposeful activity, predetermined goal, change in behavior, modification in behavior. Okay, so teaching is a purposeful activity. I am teaching you. There is some purpose related to this class, no? So this class is a purposeful in its own way. So teaching is a purposeful activity. Through teaching, teacher brings a desirable change in the students. Both the concept, teaching and learning, are related to each other. Development of complete personality of the learner is the ultimate objective of teaching. There are objectives of teaching every time. When a teaching is going on, there are certain objectives of teaching. So overall personality development of the learner is the ultimate objective of the teaching and learning process. In teaching, an interaction takes place between a teacher and a learner. The main aim of teaching is to bring change in the behavior of the students. Okay, so these are the key points: purposeful, objective of teaching, desirable change, change in the behavior. Okay, so these all are associated with the teaching. Now the levels of teaching, very important. There are 3 levels of teaching: memory level of teaching, understanding level of teaching, and reflective level of teaching. As the name suggests, memory level of teaching is thoughtless teaching. In this type of teaching, you don't have to think. You only have to grasp the thing, by heart the things, okay? Uh, Memorize the things. Rote learning is happening in this level of teaching, and you have to recall, reproduce the things when asked for. So this is the memory level of teaching. Now, can you tell me up in what levels you can see this type of teaching, memory level of teaching?
Teacher centric.
Yes, teacher centric. Okay, and a very in primary education. So there is a thoughtless teaching happening. If the teacher said that A stands for apple, so the students have not to worry about that A is apple or not. Student just learn that A stands for apple, okay? And when they come home, if you say that no, A stands for something else, okay? Like A stands for apricot also, then your kid will say that no, A is for apple only, okay? So there the thoughtless teaching is happening. If the teacher if the teacher told something to the students, they will believe only that thing, okay? Like if the teacher told them that J for joker, so they will say that J is for joker, J is not for junk. They are so strict in that thing, okay? So memory level of teaching, also the teacher centric method, understanding level of teaching. In this type of teaching, the learner is able to imply the things that the teacher is teaching in the class, like the simple addition, simple subtraction, simple multiplication, okay? The students can frame the examples of their own. So this is thoughtful teaching. The reflective level of teaching or high level of teaching, it's upper thoughtful level, okay? You will see this in higher education, like graduation, post graduation, your PhD level. Reflective level of teaching is there. So there are 3 levels of teaching, okay? Memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. Memory level, okay? Herbert is the main proponent of this level. Who proposed this memory level? Herbert. Herbert is the main proponent of this level. It is the first and the thoughtless level. Why this is thoughtless? Because the learner is not concerned with outcomes, the application, the credibility of the knowledge, anything. Okay, just what they are being taught, they just learn that thing. Okay, the first and thoughtless level. This level is concerned with mental ability or memory. Okay, the mental ability or memory that exists in all living beings. And this deals with that. Okay, teaching at this level is considered to be the lowest level. Memory level is the lowest level propounded by Herbert, and the reflective level is the highest level of teaching. At this level, the thinking ability of students does not play any role. So which ability plays role here? Mental ability. Okay. Memory level deals with mental ability. The thinking ability of students have to do nothing with the memory level. The thinking ability of the students does not play any role. Students only cram the facts, like rectification is there. Cram the facts, formulas, information, and laws that are taught to them. Rote learning is there, rectification is there, okay? In memory level of teaching. It deals with the mental ability, not the thinking ability. The role of the teacher is primary. And if the role of the teacher is primary, the teaching is teacher-centered. The role of the teacher is primary and that of students is secondary. Okay? Learners are passive. Study material is pre-planned and organized. The material, the knowledge that have to deliver to learners is pre-planned and organized. Any doubt from memory level? Any doubt from this slide, anyone?
Ma'am, Herbert is the proponent of this level. He is like academician or scholar.
Yes. Like who gave the theory of memory level of teaching? So Herbert.
Okay.
Understanding level. Morrison is the main proponent of ULT, understanding level of teaching. Why I have written ULT there? Because one of the previous year question I remember, in the question itself, they just ask the question in the form of abbreviation itself. Okay, so you have to keep in mind that ULT stands for understanding level of teaching. In one or two previous year questions, I have seen this trend that they are just going with ULT, RLT. Okay, just put things like that. So Morrison is the main proponent of understanding level. Herbert is for memory level, and Morrison is for understanding level. Understanding something means to perceive the things, how you are looking the things, grasping the ideas, and comprehend the meaning. This is the understanding thing. Understanding, if you are understanding something, it means that you are perceiving the meaning of that thing, you are getting the idea of that thing, and you are able to comprehend the meaning, okay, in a lucid way. It is insight plus memory. Okay, here memory is there. In understanding level, there are also the components of the memory level of teaching. Okay, so it is insight plus memory, as it goes much beyond just the memorization of the fact, and this is happening in the memory level of teaching. It focuses on mastery of the subjects. The understanding level goes one step further, and it focuses on the mastery of the subject. The teaching at the understanding level is of higher quality than one at the memory level. It is more thoughtful and useful from the viewpoint of mental abilities, because understanding level involves the thinking ability of the learner. At this level, the teacher explains the students about the relationship between the facts and the principle. In memory level, only the facts and the principle are being told, but in understanding level, what is the relationship between facts and the principle, okay, is also being taught, and teaches them how they can apply this principle. Like I have told you, like if in the class, if they are learning about addition, so in general life, if they are going to buy a toffee, so they are applying that principle there, so they are able to apply the principles. Okay, and the understanding level is subject centered. Any doubt in understanding level of teaching?
So basically, ma'am, in this we have to like first understand the concept, then memorize it, something like that.
But it deals more with the thinking ability. If you are able to grasp the idea, if you are able to reproduce it by yourself, you don't need to learn all the things. Okay.
At what level, one example can you give, ma'am, for this?
Like from class 5th to 12th, you can say understanding level of teaching happens.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, any doubt? Now, reflective level of teaching. Hunt is the main proponent of reflective level of teaching. Okay, here RLT stand for reflective level of teaching. Okay, so Hunt is the main proponent of reflective level of teaching, and this level is also known as the introspective level of teaching, because in this level of teaching, the learners are so motivated to grasp the things, to understand the things, that they just begin with the introspecting of the things. Can you just give me 5 minutes? 5 minutes, please.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So in reflective level of teaching, Hunt is the main proponent of RLT, and RLT is reflective level of teaching, ULT understanding level of teaching, MLT is memory level of teaching. Okay, Hunt is the main proponent. This level is also known as the introspective level of teaching. It also means thinking deeply about something. Okay, reflective means giving careful thought to something over a period of time. RLT is considered to be the highest level and MLT is the lowest level. Okay, RLT is considered to be the highest level at which teaching is carried out and includes both ULT and MLT. As I have told you that in ULT, MLT is present, and in RLT, both ULT and MLT is present. It includes both ULT and MLT. This level is highly thoughtful and useful. A student can attain this level only after going through memory level and understanding level. You just can't directly come to reflective level. In order to reach here, you have to cross the memory level and the understanding level of teaching. Now all of you are at reflective level of teaching. Okay, so in order to come here, you have to pass through the ULT and MLT. And RLT is a problem centric approach. You are presented with a problem, okay, and you like suppose here in this class you all are studying for the your net examination. So here this is problem centric in a way that we know that what we have to achieve after studying this. So all these classes are designed in a way that that they will help you to crack the examination. So it is a problem centric approach of teaching. Okay, teaching at the reflective level enables the student to solve the real problem of life. Suppose after enrolling in PhD, you are presented with a problem, okay? The problem for which you have to find a solution. So, in reflective level, students solve the real problems of life. At this level, students is made to face a real problematic situation. The student, by understanding the situation and using his critical abilities, okay? In um, MLT, there is your mental ability, and in second one, the ULT, there is your thinking ability, and in RLT, your critical abilities are there. Okay, critical abilities succeeds in solving the problem. At this level, emphasis is laid on identifying the problem, defining it, and finding a solution to it. Okay, so this is problem or student centric. Clear? Any doubt from reflective level of teaching?
Ma'am, would you just please explain it again, like short में?
Reflective level of teaching.
Yeah.
Once you have done with your memory level and understanding level, the next level of teaching is reflective level. Here the like approach is problem centric. Consider the example of PhD. Suppose you are doing your research. So you are researching on a particular topic, the topic that is novel, that is unique. Okay, so you will solve the problem by yourself. Okay, you're just critically analyzing the things that are helping you, that are helping you not. So this type of things will come under the reflective level of teaching. Okay, suppose in
But
PhD, the your some your research topic. Okay, so in your research topics there is the problem. Okay, like on what you are working, and later on you will define it. Okay, and in the and you will ultimately find a solution to this problem. Okay, and in the second one, understanding level of teaching, you are not the learner is not finding any solution to anything. Okay, they are just try to learn the things and implement the things. Here the scenario is different. Okay, any doubt?
no, ma'am.
Okay, Okay, so now let's see the question. The first question, assertion and the reason type. The role of teacher in reflective level of teaching is democratic. He does not force knowledge on the students, but develop in their talents and capabilities. Answer quickly.
It could be either A, ma'am, or second is right, but the first one with democratic word, I'm little doubtful.
Democratic means the learners are allowed to speak, allowed to express their point of view. This is democratic.
Maybe then A only, ma'am. Sorry, not A, ma'am. B, ma'am. Sorry.
B.
Okay. The correct option is B. The role of teacher in reflective level of teaching is democratic because he does not force knowledge on the students but develop in their talents and capabilities. If they just remove the word from, remove the word does not. So now the option will be A is correct, R is incorrect. Okay. So here the both the options, assertion and the reason are correct, and the reason R is the right explanation of A. So this is the right answer. Now the sequence. What is the sequence? Very easy question.
Ma'am, first.
Yes, first one.
First.
Okay, memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. Okay. Okay. The emphasis in MLT. So this is the previous year question. They just ask like this MLT. Now, if you don't know what MLT is, you just miss the question. So, just be okay with the abbreviation. The emphasis in MLT, memory level of teaching, is on which of the following?
A, C.
Solve this question by elimination method. Solve this by elimination method.
Is it
Pick
A,
out the options
C?
that must be in the answer. Yes?
Is it A, C, E, ma'am? The second option? Because they completely depend on the teacher and they mug up and they can just reproduce whatever they have been taught.
And second option, A, C, and E.
Quick reproduction. Okay. Mastery of correct sequencing of fact. It means that C and E, they must have to be in the answer. So there is only this option, second option, that C and E are there. So A will automatically be correct. Organization of thoughts and ideas. Critical thinking is not there in MLT. Okay. Relationship among facts is comes under ULT, not MLT. So the correct answer is A, C, and E. Okay. Now the
Ma'am,
next question. Hanji.
Critical thinking comes under reflective or understanding.
Yes. Reflective level.
Okay.
Which of the following is not an objective of teaching?
ma'am, D.
Yeah, I too
D.
feel
None
D,
of the above.
ma'am.
Okay. So if you think, then this is the right answer. Okay. None of the above. Next question. Which of the following is the first step in teaching process? All these questions are previous year question. Now tell me the answer. Which of the following is the first step in teaching process?
Ma'am, B.
Yeah, even I feel B,
B.
ma'am.
B, ma'am.
See, the first step in teaching process is the formulation of instructional objectives. Okay. First, the teacher will point out the objectives. After that, the selection of the content or the subject matter to be taught will be finalized. Okay. So this is the first step, the formulation of the objectives. That what are the objectives, why the teaching is happening, why the class is happening. Okay. After that, the selection of content is happening. Consider for this class, the what are the objectives? The objective is to make you all clear the examination. After that, the content is finalized. Okay. So the formulation of objectives is the first step. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. Next question. Which one of the following factor does not contribute to learning mathematical concept? Does not contribute.
Madam,
Ma'am, I
what is
think
the
D.
last option, ma'am? Narrating the life experience of the mathematics.
Ma'am, I think D.
Narrating the life experience of the mathematics who has given the concepts. Like there are documentaries on Ramanujan, na, expert mathematicians. Okay. So they are just told the tales of the Ramanujan, that how he was in studies, how he was like
Then D,
all these
ma'am.
things.
D, ma'am.
Yes, then it will be D, ma'am.
Just look at this option. Teaching mathematics and history. If you are teaching mathematics and history, so does this have any contribution to learning the mathematical concepts? If you are teaching mathematics and history together, does it help to learn the mathematical concept more easily?
Actually, ma'am, I thought of that. I was thinking like sometimes in history they teach the years, no, ma'am. So maybe that because of that I eliminated that.
That is different. Here, mathematical concepts. So if you are teaching mathematics and history, so like if you are choosing the option D, then according to you, there is some contribution, right? So what is that contribution? Now tell me.
I didn't get your question, ma'am.
My question is that you are going with the option D. Okay. So if you are going with the option D, it means that option C is contributing in learning mathematical concepts, and option C is teaching mathematics and history together. So if it is contributing, so now tell me how it will contribute. Because you are going with option C, it means that it will contribute. So my question is how it will contribute. This is my question. If you
So we
narrate
messed
the
up.
life if you narrate the life experiences of the mathematicians, okay, so the learner can be, they can be motivated, like they invented zero, and they do this, they do this. Okay, so it will help them na, in like they help as a motivators to the learners, right? And this is absurd, like teaching mathematics and history together, how it will contribute to learning mathematical concepts. Even it is not acting as a motivator for the learners. Clear?
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I will exit, ma'am. I have my yoga class. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So the correct option is C. This will not contribute. Okay. Now, which of the following is not a feature of RLT?
B, ma'am.
B. Morrison. So, who is the proponent of RLT?
Ma'am, Hunt.
Hunt. Very good. Hunt is the main proponent of RLT, and here Morrison is written. So, the correct option is B. Okay, this question from the first class. Which of the following is not one among the cardinal principles of education policy?
Ma'am, none of the
Equality.
above.
None of these.
Okay, yeah, equality.
Yes.
No, ma'am, equality.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sir. Equality is there.
Why equality?
Ma'am, because it's a word equity there.
But this is the same thing, no? Equality, equity is the same thing. Don't get confused. I have told you that, it's not always that you will get the same exact words that you are finding in your class. The words can be different. Assess equality and quality. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Got it, ma'am.
Now, any doubt? If you are having a
Ma'am,
doubt,
you asked some question in previous class. Do you have that one, ma'am, Abhi?
wait, first let me show you the syllabus. Screen is visible, right?
Yes,
Screen.
ma'am.
Yes.
We have completed this thing. Teaching, concepts, objective, level of teaching, okay? Memory, understanding, and reflective. And in the next class, we will see the characteristics, and I think we have deal with the characteristics of the teaching also, right? We have done with the characteristics of the teaching, characteristics
ma'am.
of a good teaching. So this topic is almost completed, okay? So in the next class, if we will see some leftover, if it is okay. Otherwise, we will move to learner's characteristic. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Now you can ask me your doubts.
No, ma'am, you didn't give any question.